So this is a gaming PC I built for around $300, and every single part in this system was picked up on eBay. With the way PC part prices are right now, eBay is honestly one of the few places left where you can still find good hardware at a reasonable price. Now, when it comes to performance, honestly, it ended up impressing me more than I expected going in. With how high PC part prices are right now, especially when it comes to things like RAM, building a budget gaming PC has become more difficult than ever. On the other hand, prices for used parts are still in a pretty good spot, and they haven't shown much sign of going up. That's a big advantage when you're putting together a budget build. Trust me, the performance you get out of these systems is absolutely worth the money. In this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly how I put this build together. So with that said, let's start with the heart of this PC, the CPU. Right now, a lot of popular games are pretty CPU heavy, so this is always the part I like to prioritize first when building a PC. We've got plenty of familiar options: Intel Core i, AMD Ryzen, and honestly, they're all solid choices. But there's another option that a lot of people tend to overlook, and it's actually not far behind at all. And that's Intel Xeon CPU. These chips can handle modern games better than most people expect, mainly thanks to their relatively high clock speeds. And of course, the biggest advantage here is the price. They're really cheap, and you can find them everywhere on eBay. So for this build, I decided to go with the Xeon E5 2667V3. It's an 8-core, 16-thread chip with a boost clock of up to 3.6 GHz. With specs like that, it has no problem handling today's games. And the most interesting part is, I paid just $6 for this CPU. Honestly, for the money, I don't think there's a better option out there. Moving on to CPU cooling. Since this CPU runs quite hot under load, I chose a Thermalright air cooler with 4 heat pipes, and it only cost me $15. To connect all of the components together, we need a motherboard. While the motherboard connects everything, it has very little impact on performance, so I only needed something that was compatible with the parts I already had. Because of that, I went with a board that's good enough and not too expensive. I chose an X99 OME motherboard from China, which I picked up for $20. This board has some features cut back to keep the cost down. However, it still comes with all the necessary connections, and more importantly, it includes an NVMe.2 slot. And there are quite a few positive reviews on this board as well. Next up, we've got RAM, and this was actually one of the hardest parts to find on eBay. Right now, prices have gone up a lot compared to last month. Luckily, I managed to find 2 8GB sticks, giving me 16 GB total for $45. Unfortunately, they're only running at 2,133 MHz. I also needed some storage for Windows and a few games, so I focused on keeping the budget tight and went with a 256GB NVMe drive. That one cost me $15. Next up is a very important part of the build, the GPU. I went with a card that a lot of people are already familiar with, the RTX 2060 Super 8GB, which I picked up for $125. You could also go with something like an RTX 3060 12GB or an RX 6600 XT. They do cost more, but the performance gain is only slightly better. Next up is the power supply. This is the part that powers the entire system, and it's something you really need to be careful with when buying used. Because of that, I went with a bit of extra headroom and chose a Cooler Master ATX 750 watts, which cost me $69. Based on buyer reviews, it's been running well, which gave me some peace of mind. And finally, the case. I didn't need any flashy RGB fans. I wanted something simple, so I picked up a case for $15. The total cost for this build came out to around $311. Once everything was put together, this is what the system looks like. It's not the prettiest build in the world, but the performance is really solid. First up, I tested the CPU performance using CPU Z. The single-core score came in at 369, and the multi-core score was 3,628. I also ran the GPU test, where it scored 5,086, with an average of 201 FPS. Now it's time for game testing. I'll be running everything at 1440p, with settings adjusted where needed. We're starting with Cyberpunk 2077 running at 1440p, medium settings with DLSS super resolution enabled. With frame generation on, we're getting around 100 FPS. The RTX 2060 is pretty much maxed out here, with temperatures hitting around 80 degrees Celsius and power draw reaching about 173 watts. Overall, that's pretty solid for this game. Next up is GTA 5. At 1440p, high settings, we're seeing FPS sit around 90. This game is very well optimized, so performance here stays smooth and consistent, no real issues at all. Next up is Minecraft running at 1440p with a 32-chunk render distance. FPS is sitting around 200, but in more detailed areas it can drop to around 170 FPS. When triggering a TNT explosion, FPS does dip hard, down to around 19 FPS, but it recovers almost immediately back to normal. With shaders enabled, FPS stays locked at around 58, and overall, the experience feels very smooth. Next up is The Witcher 3. We're running this at 1440p, with high settings. FPS is hovering around 82, and it stays pretty consistent while moving through towns and open areas. GPU usage is high, but everything remains stable, with no major drops or stuttering. Overall, gameplay feels smooth and responsive, and for a AAA title like this, honestly, this is a really solid result. Next up, we move on to Tomb Raider. This one is running at 1440 Pi with high settings. FPS stays well above 200 for most of the time, making the experience extremely smooth. In this game, the RTX 2060 Super is pulling up to around 170 watts, with GPU usage sitting at around 90%. Overall, the card handles this title without any issues at all. And finally, we've got Elden Ring. This is running at 1440p, high settings with ray tracing set to medium. FPS is hovering around 53, but gameplay still feels very smooth and consistent. Honestly, the experience here is really enjoyable, especially considering the settings. Next up is Fortnite. This is running at 1440p. With low graphics settings, which is how most people play this game when they're going for competitive performance. Frame rates stay above 100 FPS, and in some situations it can push past 150 FPS. Frame pacing here is very consistent, and overall this setup feels stable and responsive. Moving on to CS2. This is running at 1440p with high settings. FPS is hovering around 140 to 150, and even during heavy gunfights, performance stays very consistent. Frame pacing feels solid with no noticeable stutter or drops, which is really important for a competitive shooter like this. Overall, for an esports title, this setup is more than capable. So overall, I'm really impressed with the performance you're getting for the money. Sure, in more demanding AAA games, the RTX 2060 Super is running close to its limits, and power draw does get fairly high. But if you're looking for a very budget-friendly PC, this setup honestly performed better than I expected, and that's going to wrap it up for this build. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like, and subscribe if you want to see more builds like this. Thanks for watching.